We are back now on Most Buffalo, and a new study finds nearly 2 out of every 5 adults in the U.S. has a second source of income aside from their main job. Of course, it's what's known as a side hustle, and that new study on personal finance was put together by our friends at Bankrate.com. Ted Rossman is a senior industry analyst with Bankrate and joining us remotely today to talk more about these findings. We're so glad to have you with us because we know the economy and inflation have changed the way a lot of people handle their finances in recent years. What did your survey find as far as the people who are using a side hustle to make ends meet and pay their bills, and the people who are using it as just a way to get some extra spending money?
I think the big trends are more people have side hustles, 39% now versus 19% 6 years ago. And people are more likely to be using this money just to get by. Day-to-day expenses are the most common use for this money, which I think on one hand is very admirable that people are putting in this extra time and effort, but I feel bad that they're not getting ahead. I'd like to think that if you're putting in this extra time, that maybe you'd be paying down debt or boosting your savings or getting a great vacation out of it. But no, most of the time people need this money just to get by.
And we know when it comes to financial conversations, the attitudes are certainly different depending on the age of the person you're talking to. What did your survey uncover as far as the differences among generations on this topic?
Some really interesting findings by age. We found that about half of Gen Zers and millennials have a side hustle. That compares with about 40% of Gen Xers and only about a quarter of boomers. Another notable change this year on the age front is that boomers used to have the most lucrative side hustles. They've never been the most likely to have one, but when they do, it used to pay really well. The theory being that maybe this was high paid consulting work or kind of semi-retirement where you sort of ease out of the workforce. This year, boomers' average earnings were way down. Millennials took the top spot. The average millennial side hustler is making about $1,000 a month.
Yeah, and that was my next question, because of course everybody is too polite to actually ask how much money we're actually talking about, and what kind of time also people are putting into these side gigs as opposed to their main jobs.
The average overall is $800 a month among side hustlers. There were some groups that stood out, like millennials are $1,000 on average. Men are actually $1,000 on average versus only $600 for women. So it seems like, unfortunately, the gender pay gap pertains to side hustles as well. Overall, the median income is just $200 a month from these side hustles. So that suggests to me, like a lot of things, it's the higher numbers that bring up the averages. Basically, half of these side hustlers are making $200 a month or less. So it's a little bit of extra spending money. It's not huge sums in most cases.
Well, it's great information. We've been joined today by Ted Rossman, senior industry analyst with Bankrate.com. Ted, thanks again for joining us this afternoon. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
And topping the next half